My name is Carson. Welcome back to Thrifty Garage, a channel where we do everyday repairs, how-tos, and reviews. In today's video, we're picking up this truck. This is a Copart auction truck. Just tightened down our tie straps, but we're on a road home right now. Okay, this truck is an Oklahoma truck, and it's pretty dirty. Looks like this was its normal working conditions. The tires are pretty chopped up. Looks like they were running dirt roads a lot. So we're at the car wash. That's some old fender damage. We got some old bumper damage. It looks like this truck had some incidents before the wreck. Here's a look at the wreck side. So we got this thing cleaned up so it's easy to work on, easier to see what we're doing, and start tearing this thing apart. There's still a lot of grime we missed, but overall it looks a lot better. It's going to be a lot easier to work with. Okay, let's do a mid-progress update on this teardown on this work truck we found. Pulled off the door, pulled off the fender, pulled off the headlight, pulled off the hood. Taking a look at our damage here. A lot of the stuff we took off for two reasons. A, because there's other how-to videos on how to remove the dash, how to remove all these things. B, I've never done this before, so I'm not really a good how-to guide. But now we've got this to this point, we can show you what the damage is. Something hit, obviously, right here, messed up our bumper, messed up this inner fender area, messed up our under cab area. And basically, I think the tire got pushed in here and kind of rolled around in here and pulled in all this metal. You can see we got a crease right here. This whole front face is supposed to be flat. We got a crease right there. We've got a little ripple in our body seam right there. And then this whole floor plan area, all this stuff is popped up. You can see there's a pretty good crinkle right there. This whole kick pan area has been pushed in probably 3 inches, I'd guess. Let's see if we can get better. Couple better angles here. So this is pretty mangled up. This floor's, you can see kind of, we got some creases in here where this is kind of compressed. And then a pretty good seam on this guy. So, got this tore apart pretty good. And we've got some replacement parts to throw in here. As best as I can tell, the frame is just scratched up. It's not actually bent. But when we get this tore apart a little bit more, we'll take it to a alignment shop and see if this thing aligns right. But I'm pretty sure it just scraped off the paint. They already put a new knee hub assembly thing here. So we've got a spare tire on here, making it drivable. Picked up a replacement cab for this, and we're just gonna chop this out and patch in the replacement. Picked up a new door, picked up a new fender, and we're gonna have to get some more parts, but that's where we're at so far. It's been a project, never done anything like this, and this is pretty deep. So wish us luck. Okay, here's a look at that replacement cab. Whoever had this before cut out this corner, and we're doing the other thing on this side. You can see here how flat and flush this is, where that crease is going through right here on our cab. This is a much more subtle drop right there on this one, and this is all flat through here. And I think this hinge was kind of pushed in on the other one, so this is kind of pops out where it's supposed to. Got nice clean cab lines along here. Okay, we are officially more tore apart. We got our wiring harness through here. We got our hood released through there. This wiring harness went up into here. So I pulled this off. That went to the windshield wipers. Pulled these two out. There's no one that looped up into here and came to this guy. So we've got a mess of wires pushed back through. Just finished pulling through the e-brake, the emergency brake, parking brake, and we've got this whole wiring harness here pulled out of here. So now we've got this harness out of here, we can see some more damage. It looks like this is crinkled this way as well. So the truck, the door was kind of sitting on here out, and the top there had about a 3-4 inch gap. So I figured that corner got pushed in. I wasn't planning on replacing this whole cab corner. I just thought I'd have to buy a door and a fender, but seeing that door I knew that there was probably more to this. So this ultimately is probably going to be pulled out an inch or two. I'm suspecting based on the crunch into here. So a little bit of crunch here. The further we go back, the more flat this gets. I mean, it's crunched right there. Pretty good. So luckily, I don't think there's any wiring issues that I saw. Truck ran, drove, everything like that. Everything seemed normal. So what the plan is we'll end up cutting, because the cab I got is a 4-door cab, this corner is different. So we're gonna have to end our cab cut right here. And that's about perfect because that's all factory right there. And then that's where it starts getting smashed. So we'll basically drill all these out, pull this outer cab skin out here, and then we'll be able to patch inside here whatever we need, and then we can put on our outer cab skin all the way through here. So I did have to pull the brakes and foot pedal assembly on the inside for right here. So I think what I'm also going to do is just pull this guy off, and there's a place we can drill out here, and then that whole piece can come off. There's a little bit of crinkle here, but I think this is all, aside from that little bit of corner, that's all factory up there. So we can probably cut it here and splice in. And if that brake assembly's out of our way, that'll probably help. And then we'll just have to figure out where through there we splice in. And I've got this jacked up off the ground just to make this more comfortable to work on. Might end up I'll probably take this tire off and we'll unbolt that cab mount, and we'll start splicing in. I wanted to take a look at these rockers. This is a 2017 with 130,000 miles, and that is our rockers there. So they are looking good up here and looking pretty bad down there. Only 130,000 miles on this truck. This truck obviously had at least one mouse in it. Okay, we're gonna cut this right here. Got that whole seam split all the way over to there. We're gonna cut down to there. We need to split the bottom seam. Coming up here, we need to drill those out. I don't think there's any more here. We gotta drill that out. These are all good, all the way up to here. And then this had seam sealer down that edge and out to there. So on the front side here, we've already split this. We're gonna cut down here, somewhere into here. We've already split that. We're going to probably cut this off with this panel, and then once it's removed, we'll drill that out. We'll be able to do the opposite on their side. We'll drill out and remove this piece on the truck, and then we're gonna probably cut down the middle of this floorboard between the edge here and that cable, right about where these screws are at. We'll cut down there, and then we're gonna have to work around that guy. Same type of thing. We'll probably cut through it, pull it off the truck, and then remove it, and then weld it on the new one. I think it's gonna work out pretty good. By doing that, we're gonna get, we'll remove this floor panel, but we'll cut it out. We'll be able to save all of this and move it to the new truck. And this is all damaged, and trying to remove this piece damaged that piece, and that piece got damaged in the accident too. So we'll have all new of that, weld that in, and then we'll be able to put the infrastructure in first, and then weld our body panel on the outside and have it look real nice and be all finished. Right here is going to be kind of tricky. On that truck we cut here, but this piece was removed, so we're going to somehow have to cut this and then cut on the inside the remainder, and then remove that whole piece. And behind there, there's also a structural component. So once we get this body panel off, that'll make that easier to work. And then inside here, we're basically pulling this whole floorboard out all the way around here, which will fall all the way down there. And then we'll pull, all this is gonna be all connected up to here, and here's where we're gonna have our, this is gonna be the hardest corner, this whole corner splice, but I think it's gonna be worth trying to move it in one go. Okay, this is coming off pretty good, about what I expected. So These body panels are super flimsy, but the hardest thing on this one is just the seam sealer coming up here, holding it together pretty good. I've got a couple more to pop off, and then we're free and clear. So I did cut a little bit higher on this end, a little bit further on that end. But I'm gonna peel that off, and then we've got good access to the inside here, and then I can decide how far we want to hack that out. This panel right here is off of our parts truck, so got that pulled off today. Almost got this stripped back to where we need, so it's ready to go. Still need to take out a little more of this floorboard area up to there, and then also going to take off this inner to about here, and then we'll be able to weld in the inner off of that one and patch this all back together and get this truck back on the road. We are so close to pulling this piece off. We've got it completely detached all the way around here. We've got these lower brackets chopped. We'll have to come back and remove this, and then chop that lower bracket, chop this whole thing right here, and we're hung up on this one spot. So this panel behind here goes in through this door frame, and it actually has all the bolt holes in it. So I wanted to keep that on the old cab, but it's got these two little tabs. These two little tabs stick out, and so I'm gonna have to detach those. That's the only thing holding that on the other body. And then all of this piece actually goes up into here. So we're gonna not mess up any of that. We'll have a good place to reference these top holes, and then we'll have to make sure that our alignment this way is correct, so we've got the right spacing here. I did find out on the 4 doors it's like a 39-inch opening wherever I measured, and then on this cab it's a 40-inch opening, so it's about an inch wider for the regular cab. So we'll have to do some cross-referencing and measurements. But you can see here we've got this detached. We'll be able to fix this and kind of pop it this way, meet it up with that new panel. We'll pull all that stuff out, and then I've got this line already marked in here, so I measured an inch off center. We're just going to cut here, dogleg this over here, and then it'll follow here, and then kind of this is all going to be kind of dependent on the lengths. That's where we're going to kind of splice that in. This wasn't my original plan, but when I was air chiseling, I really made a mess out of this. So this is still pretty intact, so we'll be able to keep that, and it's got that bracket down there. And then somewhere in here, it's not too bad. I'm hoping to kind of reuse this splice, but we'll just see how that works out. And then this piece is kind of mashed in right here, so we just need to blend anywhere in here. We've really got the option. So really wanted to kind of clean up that crinkle right there. Really happy with how it's coming together. Really happy with, it's been a lot of work to make this work, but the structural support of this is going to be awesome. And lining up these holes, those new panels actually have holes right here. Both panels do, so we'll really be able to line this up, you know, within a millimeter or two. So for being a newbie, for being a novice, figuring this out slowly, but it's coming together, and I'm feeling really good about it so far. Okay, we got this whole corner chopped out of here. We'll do some modifications of this. May not use, you know, as long or whatever. We may not use the full floor pan. We've got everything to work with. The biggest difficulty was splitting this seam so that we could drop it down through there. Got that out, and it's going to be a little bit tricky welding this backside back in, but I think it's all going to work out. Everything's pretty well factory seams, except for this one I wasn't able to do the way I would have liked, because this panel goes all the way up into here. That really just opened up a lot of worms. So we'll be able to save that on the new cab and resplice back in everywhere. We do got some more work on this thing. We'll have to cut right here and pull this part of the floor pan out. Take off this bracket, and then this bracket we'll probably leave on the truck, and then we'll do the same thing here, and then we can just weld in from the back side on both of those, from the new body to this one. One thing I was surprised with on this cab is there's no rocker rust at all. This is a 2015. The truck is a 2017, and it had quite a bit of rust, so that's interesting. Okay, we are getting close to fitting this up. Starting to get everything cut to fit. And I did something I didn't want to have to do, but I had to do it. And that is cut out the back side of this. I was really hopeful to keep this all in one piece all the way up to here, but what that did is that enclosed this area. We've got this piece up here that has to insert down in between those two pieces. So this piece was like this, and there was no way I was gonna be able to make that work. So one option was to slide that up kind of this way and then pivot it in this way. But with that option, that section right there would hit the frame as it kind of curled up and around. The other option was to set this end down here and kind of roll this in this way, and that's kind of what we're going to end up doing. But in order to do that, we had to remove that piece on the back side. So it actually is going to work out pretty good. This side had to undergo, this inside piece goes up all the way up to here, and we had to kind of cut this across here. And so the way these things matched up was going to be really hard to match. But now we've got this separate piece. We can easily set it there, mark it, cut it to fit, and we can also install this after that main piece is installed, and it's really easy to get in here and weld. You still have a little more cutting on here. That piece is currently a little long, so we'll straighten that out to match that. And then these all notches are actually looking pretty good. So this little frame extension, I don't know, body extension, is going to sit underneath there. That one right there is going to sit underneath there. And then that notch down there is right there. Got a little notch right there. And then we can weld this on the outside and on the outside. So overall, really good exposure to everything. We'll be able to go back behind here and weld through these holes this direction. I'm no expert at all, and there's certainly going to be some areas that are not perfect, but this is actually coming together much better than I expected. With just patching this together and not full on replacing the cab or, you know, replacing this whole sill plate and everything. So really looking forward to getting this thing temporarily put up, put a door on here, and make sure really this gap and this gap is correct so we can finish welding this up and start putting this mess back together. Okay, we are getting closer and closer. So we've got this test fit. I've got a couple of self-tapping screws put in there to hold it in place. Pretty decent seam lines for a first timer. Got another self-tapper there and there. Got that mostly set up. That's going to be a long joint to splice in. But the biggest thing is I wanted to make sure this opening left to right, in and out, is correct. And I think we've got this about as correct as we can be. We've got these holes lined up. We've got these holes lined up. So I think we're ready to test fit the door and see how these seams are. And if we're good there, then we can start welding these seams up and start putting it back together. I'm excited for this phase. It's been a long time coming. It's been a lot of work, a lot more work than I expected. But this method I used to put this in place actually worked out perfect, and I'm pretty happy about how everything lined up because we were able to reuse that piece there. So we know that corner's perfect, and then we're really just worried about this kind of spreading this way. And then the way I measured these off, I think that this distance should be pretty accurate too. So I don't know if there's a professional that do this differently or the same or whatever, but I feel like the method we're using is working okay so far, and now we'll find out for sure. Got the door test fit on. Gaps are looking pretty good width-wise, consistent from top to bottom. I do have this little flap up here, so it's kind of tipping up on the top end and kind of dipping in on the bottom end. I really don't know what else to do about that. Up front here, this is actually right here. We've got, actually we're pretty close on this end, so that's about where it needs to be according to that piece. Everything here was pretty well crunched in the accident, so this all should be kind of the right distance. So I don't know why that hinge is seemingly like a half an inch too far in. giving us that gap up top there. But at this point, I don't know what else I can do. Biggest thing was making sure these gaps are consistent, and they are. So our distance from here to here in that cut line seems to be correct. Again, this gap seems to be correct. So everything that I'm looking at seems to be correct. We might have to shim these hinges or do something on the back end to make that fit. But at this point, we'll probably just keep moving forward, keep trucking along. This video is for my cousin who has more experience doing body work. This door is pushed in down here and pulled out a little bit up here. The gap in here looks pretty good top to bottom. And then on this end, we've got this factory mount. This is where this door mount is, as well as this whole casing is set in. This body part and this one are mating up pretty good right there. So left to right, I'm feeling pretty good. This panel, where I've got it spliced in down here, because of that gap, I feel like it's good this direction. Do I just shim this door right here and pull that out a little bit in order to make this gap less severe? Or do I bend the hinge? Is there more body work I need to do here? Here's a look at these pieces we've spliced together. So pretty well tried to follow body lines within the truck in order to make these seam cuts. So we're plus or minus probably 1/8 of an inch all the way through here. Going up around here. And then this piece right here. So this panel goes all the way up into this A-pillar and comes down from the factory. And then this piece right here will go over and cover that back up. But everything here is pretty well lined up, kind of back to where it was factory. And kind of just stuffed this whole cab corner up in here. And then we'll pinch weld everything in here. And we got those brackets there, and we got another bracket right there that'll splice in. And then our joint there, and then we'll have to put our door seal on. Thanks to some help from my cousin, things are looking better with this door. Got good seam lines up there, same down there. What we ended up doing to fix this was we've got 2 washers in the hinge here, just pulling this hinge out just to slide them out. You can see we've got a good seam right there as well. And then on the inside, don't mind the glass in the door, we've got this rocker temporarily put in with self-tapping screws. Got one there, one there. We got the bolting up top. Really feeling good about how this all comes together. If anybody's curious, the difference between a crew cab and a regular cab truck, crew cab, the door starts going up sooner. So we'll have to figure out something for that, either use a piece off the old truck or cut this and kind of push it back down. But we'll figure that out. We've started putting in some welds, stitching across here. And now we just got to put in some time welding and grinding. It's been a while since an update. It probably doesn't look like we've done much since we've updated. Been doing a lot of welding. When my cousin looked at this and helped me out with some questions I had, one comment that really stood out to me was, that's a lot of welding. And it has been, and I've tried to grind it really smooth, and then I've just blown through holes, gotten really thin in areas. So now I'm not trying to grind as much. I think I'm just going to fill these with seam sealer. I'll probably do a little more grinding on some of these areas, but I'm really going to rely on some seam sealer to get everything buttoned up. I probably have 90-95% of my welding done. So we've got all this stuff buttoned together. We've got vice grips on here, temporary holding this in place. This, probably got to clip a little bit of that off, but that's pretty much ready to finish weld. But I'm running into some issues over here. So crew cab versus regular cab, these door jambs just don't line up at all. And looking at this seam's not lining up. This needs to come up just a little bit. But even then, we've got this huge gap right there. And I think what happened is in the accident, this really got smashed up. I mean, this whole thing got smashed, but even under here, it was still smashed. We've got some cracks in the paint right there. So I think this corner's just been peeled up just a tiny bit, even though it looks pretty factory. So I hate doing this, but I'm basically going to take the back half of the door on the crew cab and cut in here and bring in that and then splice here. So I wanted to just do one seamless, you know, joint right here, one joint there, one joint here, minimal body work. But what I'm probably gonna have to do is I'm probably gonna have to cut somewhere in here and then splice in this rear half of the cab off of the back door on the crew cab. So it's not ideal, but these body lines just are not, you know, this is pretty square and this is pretty slanted. It's not even square till back here. So I think that whole thing needs to go. I tried bending it back in place. As far as my method of doing this, why I did it this way, obviously the right way would be to remove the windshield, to remove this whole outer piece of the cab, pull that off, buy a new one. That piece is pretty expensive. I think it's like $200-300. I bought the whole cab for $800, which I probably overpaid for it. Looking at these parts, these are actually not that expensive. There's like 3 or 4 or 5 pieces back behind here that I would have needed. That piece that goes into here. And when I bought the spare cab, I realized there was no way I was going to be able to remove all this seam sealer and to get this perfectly removed, to peel this piece off and to take all the pieces off of that cab and put them on this cab. I could have done it if I would have bought the pieces individually, but I already had some sunk costs into it. But the other problem is I wouldn't have had like this piece there that's going to be like the whole firewall. I definitely didn't want to buy that one. So then I was looking at using parts off the part truck and then buying new parts. And then the other problem was this piece in here. There's this piece sandwiched in here that goes, actually it's this piece. This piece is mostly accessible all the way around here, except for up here. It goes up into the firewall behind this piece. And so to put that piece back in, I would have had to remove this piece that goes up into the cab. And that was just too much. So this worked out really well as far as blending this seam and kind of zigzagging around my damaged area and making it work with the parts that I had and my lack of knowledge of how to do this. There's been some issues in doing that, mostly that. But other than that, really everything's gone as I expected. And I'm pretty happy with it. We've got these are the stock ones welded into this piece right there. We've got another joint like that back there. We've got this buttoned up. Gonna put seam sealer on there. I think I'm just gonna leave those self tappers in there. It's really hard to get back there with the welder. So I'm gonna seam sealer those, but that's real good. Seam sealer on the inside. This has been kind of a mess too, getting access into here. And then again, I tried really grinding this down and then it got just too thin. So I'm gonna try to lighten that up and I'll seam seal that as well. It's not ideal. You're gonna be able to see where the repair was made, but plan is to use this as a work truck, and this will be able to be a very inexpensive work truck with lower miles. It's 4-wheel drive. It's everything we need for a work truck. So really excited with the potential on that, and trying to figure out what we're doing with this utility body. It's in rougher shape than I expected, but plan was to use this as an irrigation truck and be able to put all our parts in here. May or may not be able to run a gooseneck trailer with it, but usually with sprinkler installs, we pull an enclosed, which this truck would be perfect for, and we could even put a plow in it eventually, and this would be an awesome plow truck. So lots of potential with this, lots of learning going on here, and like I said, lots of welding, grinding, lots of work in this, and we're finally getting to a point where we're thinking about putting this rest of the cab on, and once we do that, then we can start buttoning this up, put the dash and all that back. That's a project in and of itself. But it's a cold one, 37 degrees outside. We are working on seam sealer. Never done this before. Just kind of winging this and figuring this out. I'm just using this blade. I didn't want to find a paintbrush, so multi-tool blade that's used and beyond its life, but I just squirted some of this 3M urethane seam sealer. Squirted some on there. This stuff's like roofing tar, and just tried to kind of put it into all the places. I had some pretty big spot welds here. Kind of like, oh, we have like a plug weld. Kind of like that one, maybe a little bit more proud than that even. Underneath here, and they're super hidden. So I was going to grind those off. Kind of like these, I ground these off smooth. These have to be smooth because of that panel going on here. But those ones, I figured seam sealer would be fine on those. Leave some integrity in the welds. So got this whole joint, because of the way we welded this. This is all factory below there. That's all factory. So all this factory seam sealer, it's all in place. We'll have to come in and seam seal along here once we put that another panel in. But yeah, that's all done. Looking pretty good. The factory had no seam sealer here. We did weld right there. I've contemplated going on that. I don't know, I might leave that without seam sealer on this side. But now inside here, we need to put seam sealer all along there, all along there, all along there, and all along up there. So factory seam sealer is right there, and we'll continue it across, continue it over to here, and then I don't know if I'm gonna bother. I'm probably not gonna do this one where we've welded here. I don't see a reason for that. In fact, I don't even know why there's one up here other than just maybe wind, maybe some rain, but we'll definitely do all that. So I thought about taping it off. I probably should, but I'm just being kind of lazy, and this is all going to be covered by foam and floorboard, all sorts of stuff, so who cares? I'm just going to paint it all white. You can't even tell in here, but that's white and that's gray. But it's hard to tell. I can't even tell, to be honest. That actually might not be white. That might just be factory gray. But you can see out here, white, well, silver from the new cab, white in here, silver. So yeah, I'll stop talking. Okay, I almost used that whole tube. Added a little bit down here. I didn't want to add it up here because I might have to grind on this and do that to make this brake system fit. I don't think I will, but I just wanted to leave that open for now so I've got access. Everything down there is sealed, so that's looking good. Got this sealed up real good everywhere that I exposed. And then all of this was a natural joint right there. And then, so kind of filled in all that, and then all of my weld all the way across there. This part of the body got a little bit beat up. There were some holes in it from the air hammer. So filled those in, filled in any welding spots we had there, and just kind of repaired the factory seam there, repaired our splice joint on the factory seam there, and then kind of seam sealed that whole welding edge up there. Got that whole top edge where the factory seam sealer was, as well as that one where the factory was. This stuff is messy. Got a little bit on my hands. Not too bad. Should have wore gloves, but I hate gloves, so here we are. But not the ideal tool, but it definitely worked. We're going to have to, I think the only place we have to seam seal is this joint once we put this body panel on. So it has a little bit along this edge where this the two door hinges go. So we'll have to seal that up to keep all that from getting in there. And I might even go underneath where these are and just get the backside. But I'm really surprised. That seam sealer stuff is sticky, ooey gooey goodness. So I'm really not too worried about stuff coming in there. I was watching some videos on YouTube and saw a guy, I mean, he just spot welded it every half an inch or an inch and then seam sealed around it. So I don't think this was watertight. I wouldn't put this on a lake, but there was only a few maybe pits and holes in the whole weld. So this weld is pretty solid all throughout. And then the seam sealer is just precautionary just in case. So I'm feeling pretty good about a repair. Again, probably not recommended, OEM, whatever else. I don't think it's very common to cut the body like this to patch that in. Sounds like something you do more on older vehicles for repairs. But in this situation, because of how many components we had going on here, and me just not knowing what I'm doing, that made the most sense to me. And that's just how I did it. Sounds like it's probably a lot more work. Finally starting to put this back together. Put on a new brake booster. I need to go pick up the gasket this morning. The gasket was on here, actually caught on fire. I don't know how that happened. Well, you know. Anyways, I did find that this was sitting on one of these welds, so I did grind that down. When I ground that down, this seam sealer like bubbled up, and I peeled it off where it heated up, and then everywhere else it's stuck on really good. So seam sealer does not do well with heat, so at least this stuff. So I'm going to re-seam seal that. I might put a little bit of seam sealer right here, and then as I bolt this on, just kind of squish it out, just to get a little more secure there. I did paint this. You can see I've got some pretty bad runs right there, but that fender looks really good. There's a ton of crap that sits on the fender well like this, so all this should be pretty concealed and covered anyways. You're not gonna be able to see a lot of this repair. So this is looking really good. Really happy about that. I did paint our floorboards in here, so that's all painted white, and kind of did inside there. Put this piece of foam back in there. I've got that floorboard foam to go right there, and you can see where all our seam sealer filled in our gaps. So I think I got one more tube of seam sealer, so I'm going to put a little bit there. I'm going to put a little bit there, and then I think I'm probably going to go along here. It's not really, I don't know, it's not necessary there. And I'll probably do underneath the floorboards here where this weld is, just to cover up that weld. But I guess you guys haven't seen this. We've got this outer sill plate on. This is coming together pretty good. I don't know, you guys tell me how my welding and grinding skills are. Pretty good. This is kind of choppy through here. You got our spot welds all through here, all the way down. Got our spot welds underneath the bottom side there. I did have to patch in this panel because the crew cab door kind of curved up right there. I did look, I was going to steal this section off the crew cab, but the crew cab, this doesn't stick out as far. This is like shorter. It's only like 1.5 inches. So that wasn't going to work. So that's kind of why we got this really kind of squared off right here, and then it's kind of smashed from the accident. So might have to fill this with some Bondo or do something. It's going to be a work truck. At this point, I'm kind of just taking a pause on all of the exterior body work. I'm going to have to paint this door, going to have to paint all this, but I want to get this truck drivable, and so I'm putting all my energy in there. Put all our floorboards together. I'm going to have my friend Tanner come over and help me put back in the dash and get the dash in, get our electronics hooked up, and then I should be able to test drive it, move it around, do some different things, and hopefully we'll get this inspected. I don't know if I'm going to, I don't know. I've never done this before. I don't know if you need to paint it before you get inspected. If we can get it inspected before we go through the paint, I would like to get it aligned. Brakes need to be bled. We've got this got ripped off. What's it called? But the guy I bought it from splices together, so I need to get a new sensor for that. New wire, at least fix the wiring, because their wiring job's crap. So lots to do on this, but at this point, I'm concentrating on the inside and getting it back operational, because it's been holding up a spot here in the garage for 1.5 months, and it's snow season, and if we have a breakdown, it's nice to work inside the shop. So I'd like to have this available so I can pull this truck in and out and work on it as I want instead of as much of a need. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with myself. I'm pretty happy with how it's coming together. Is it perfect? Probably not. Maybe it is fine. Maybe this is normal work, and Bondo and filler does the rest, but doing my best. Really happy with how everything's kind of coming together. Oh, that other tube of seam sealer goes right here. So that's the priority, is putting a bead all the way up to there. And then whatever excess I have in that tube, I can use elsewhere. Found my first major mistake in the way I did this. So I had to make a decision whether I wanted to cut on the inside of this bump out, which side. I chose to do on that side because I felt like it'd be easier to grind on the other side, which it was easier to grind on this side. But as we saw, this plate flush mounts on there, so that was a problem. And now we've found an even worse problem. This pedal is supposed to sit flush, and this bump out follows that ridge, and then this lip sets on the other side of it, so that would have needed to be flush anyway. So I guess no matter how we did this, making this inside perfect was ideal, and it is far from ideal. So I don't know what else I'm going to do. At this point, I'm just going to send it as is. I just put that seam sealer on, so I'm going to let that cure. There's nothing else I can do at this point. So, man, if I had to redo it, I guess I would have put this on, stenciled around it, and then moved my cut an inch off of it, and then used this as the template. But even then, the damage from this corner was smashed really, really good, but the ripple effect went all the way over to here. So I think even then, that corner was damaged. So, I mean, the right way to make this repair would have been to put a whole new cab on, which I didn't want to go through that effort. Honestly, it might have been easier. At that point, you're just bolting on and off parts, whereas here I've cutting and splicing and all sorts of stuff like this. But we're in it now. This bolts on 4 bolts right here for the brake booster, and then we've got a bolt right there that goes up into the dash here. So I wish that we had that secure against the firewall mounting plate like it's supposed to be, but I think with those mounting, we should be able to get it tight enough to where it's not going to move around in the brake pedals. That's a pretty major deal. So if we have to come back in and fix that, that's going to be a pain in the butt, especially after we put back on the dash. But I guess I'm going to let that cure, and then we'll put this on, and if it's a problem, then we're going to have to probably cut that out and do some more work there. But got seam sealer right here. So all the way down there. So that's looking good. I decided not to put any there. And then underneath here, we've got seam sealer all along that, and there, and down to there. So everything we spliced in has got seam sealer on it now. I was looking at this. I think it's kind of weird that there's that white line there. That's just where the mud off the tires flings right here, maybe. I don't even know. This is pretty ugly welds right now, so I got to fix that up. Yeah, it's been fun.
Test drive.
Oh my goodness.
What was that?
I don't have a door or a seatbelt.
You don't need those.
The alignment's definitely jacked.
Nah. Just a four-wheel drive truck now.
Too low, too high.
Oh, this is gonna be cold, I can tell. At least I've got one window over
Tire
here.
pressure light, traction control light.
Service airbag.
It's like going really fast.
I wonder why.
Oh my goodness, the alignment is trash. Right rear turn lamp signal.
Brisk.
It smells like it's burning.
That's normal.
Okay, we got our redneck alignment set up here. We've got some string line. This would be the camber on this. Had the tires, they were kind of splayed outward. So you can see both sides we've got pretty close to touching the tire, maybe a millimeter or two difference. So it's cambered. I think that's cambered out. Before it was like, it was pretty bad. It was something like that, cambered out. So we've got them pretty close to straightforward. So that's just not quite touching. And on this other side, we're just barely touching. So got those straightened out. It should be a lot better for driving. Readjusted. You can see this was pretty messed up, so readjusted the alignment angle. And we'll take it out for another test drive. The brake light was on, but that was disconnected, so hopefully that fixes that. What other things we got going on here? We got a low battery vehicle, start vehicle. Got a check engine light. We got a tire pressure sensor light, which this one's a spare tire, so that explains that. I don't know why traction control is not working. Possibly could be this wiring that we fixed. Could be that they hooked up the wrong wires. Okay, working on sanding. These used doors and fenders have a few things in it, so I'm gonna put a body filler on there, put some body filler on there. Now this door was not closing right. What I figured out was this hinge had actually been pushed inward. It's got a little bit of a ripple right here. So I pop this back out, and now it closes great. So pretty happy about that. I'm working on this fender. That's got a big old dent right there. This had that stupid chrome piece there, and then a pretty good scratch right here. That scratch pretty much sanded out. I'm gonna put a little bit of Bondo on there, but it probably was fine without. And then this is all, should be good. Maybe there's still some adhesive on there. But yeah, gonna Bondo that and then get everything cleaned off, pressure wash, and pretty much ready for paint. I'll paint the inside of these fenders first, inside of the door, and then I'm waiting on some parts for the front end there to square that up, and then should be able to put this back together. Okay, added the Bondo, got these sanded down with 220. I'll hit them up with, I think I've got some 320 or 400. So just a little bit of Bondo in there. And then on the door, a little bit in that corner. A little bit in that corner. I found a couple of dings and nicks, but those kind of superficial above the primer. I also have a few dings along the edge of the door there, a ding right there. But the goal is not to make this perfect. You can see this body line is not perfect. The other side, I can't get over there right now. The other side is full of dings and dents all the way through here. The door's got dings and dents. The fender has dings and dents. It's a work truck. I want to make it look nice. I want to do a good job. I'm going to be repainting the whole door. Going to be repainting from about the bottom all the way across up to there. Whole new fender paint. I think I'm going to go with a different color white. I've got a test plot. In fact, I'll go show you that. Okay, I picked up these two paints from O'Reilly. This one was like, I want to say like $6. This one was like 16 bucks. Quite a big price difference. And obviously, this one's half the size. It's supposed to be for original GM colors. This white is right here. And right there. It's that white. This white is right here and right there. This is a little bit closer match right on top there. I also sprayed this on top of that white. So this is also this white right here. So honestly, these whites are so hard to tell that difference. It's just, this is definitely wider, but this is just like a, a different color altogether. It's almost like a grayish color. So I don't know what to do. That's the color we need to go for, and neither one of these really matches. But honestly, that white is going to look a million times better than the dark brown and charcoal and whatever else is on the truck right now. Another issue we're having with the door is it was too far forward. I pulled it as far back I could on these hinges, but it just wasn't enough. So what I ended up doing is I took one of these busted up hinges. These actually were pretty decent after the wreck. They were probably tweaked a little bit, but I cut off the tabs on that, cut off the ears. I used 3 washers that were about the same distance at first just to double check. And then I just cut those off and welded those on there. So we've kind of got the factory contact point there on the hinge. But we got that new distance, and that works a lot better. Along with, we adjusted that latch, fixed that, and then doing that, slid the bottom side out far enough. The top had enough adjustment in it. So now we've got the adjustment we need in order to latch well and fit well. So I'm going to test it up one more time. I just sanded in all of here. I've got about all the sanding done that I need to do. So I'm going to mount that up. I don't know, I feel like I need the car wash every other day. I mean, this thing's a mess. But the plan is we're going to bolt that up, be able to take it to the car wash, and then I can wash out the inside and outside, wash out all our door jambs and stuff, take our fender in the bed, wash that out, and then once it's washed, I can open up the door on the hinges, paint the inside of the door. I can paint the inside of the fender on, well, I'll paint that off the truck, paint this on the truck, and then I could remove the door, paint the door jambs, and then we can put back on the door, put the door and the fender on, and paint them on the truck. I don't know what I'm doing, so that's my plan. I also picked up a set of wheels yesterday, so I got those wheels off Facebook Classifieds, got some new hubcaps, got some 4 new wheel sensors. So I checked the wheel sensors on these. This one is working, this one's throwing a reading. The other 3 are not working at all. So one is in the bed that's jacked, and it seems like possibly 2 other ones were not working. So I'm glad I got a whole new set. And I need to take it to the tire shop. I've got a set of BFGs off of the 15. Actually, those are off the 07, the LBZ Duramax. So I'm going to take those and put them on these new wheels. That can return to being a spare. And then I've got 3 other spares that I can have for whatever else. New wheel sensors we can calibrate with this truck, get in alignment, all at the same time, same tire shop. And then we'll know if there's any other issues with alignment, suspension, drivetrain, all that. But I've done it a couple test drives, and it's done fine. After my redneck alignment, it's still not perfect. Steering wheel's actually kind of jacked. I've got like 1.5 turns to the right and like 2.5 turns to the left. So things are a little bit off there. But the alignment shop should fix a lot of those issues and fix the light on the dash for the tire pressure monitoring system. So I'm going to bolt this back up, double check that. Okay, we've got our double washer there on both those, pulling this out just a little bit. We've got basically a triple washer there using that factory hinge. So the double washer pulled this out, which pushed this in flush. I'm not going to say my seams are perfect, but see, this is a little bit further out than I'd like it to be. We might end up doing a little bit more washer on that. But this way is looking pretty consistent top to bottom. Door opens and closes great. So there's where we're at for now. Guess while we're looking at this, haven't really shown this yet, but here's our transition. This is really the only thing you see from the accident that we haven't like fixed perfectly. The door is going to look perfect. The fender, you know, to someone just looking, this thing stands out the most, I think. If you look down here, I mean, you could definitely see where that hits. You look on my truck. For me to Bondo this, I'd have to come all the way back. I mean, honestly, even to here. It's just such... This thing's supposed to stay square all the way through here. Even out, I mean, even here, this starts tipping inward. So, and like, it's smashed in up here too. So like this probably needs an 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch pulled down and pulled out. It's just the way it smashed the cab there. It's just not pretty. I don't know if that's going to be a problem for inspection, but all of these seams, I'm really happy with how they turned out. It rolls real nice. This seam is almost, you can't even tell it's there. Once we throw paint on that, I am worried about, you know, blending those two. But this I'm worried about being the most noticeable. Like I said before, it's a work truck and it's got so many dings and dents. Like that's going to be a nice body line compared to the dents on the other side. So, yeah, it's coming together. I'm happy with myself. I guess that's all that matters. It's my work truck and it's my business name on the side. So I'm pretty happy with this truck, and you know, and the fact that I've got another 2015 plus. I think these trucks just look nicer than the older body style. Okay, I went to the car wash. I've got this thing cranked up here. I don't think it'll ever get that hot in here, but we're gonna dry off this, dry off our cab, dry off our door, get everything hot, melt off all this water, and get it ready for paint. There was some water in there. I used the vacuum to pull it out. Got some stuff a little wet, got some water in here, but I think that was a good call. This door looks so much better clean. I did notice this guy has a lot more dings and dents than I thought, so that's kind of a bummer. You can see they're just all over. About 1,000 degrees. Painting has been going surprisingly well up until this point. We got all of the back sides of these doors done. I did put some masking tape around these. Not a perfect job, but okay. We've got a little bit of imperfections, like spider cracks in here. But like for the most part, the thing looks amazing. I did the inner fender. When I flipped that over, I noticed we missed a little bit in these corners. But we've just been using this Rust-Oleum custom spray, using numbers 4 and 5, which are a fan spray. This is the Stop Rust Gloss Protective Enamel White. Pretty close color match. Really, really happy with it so far. Got all of the inner door all the way across here. I prepped all of that. I didn't really prep this corner. And here's where things went south. I was going to put some truck bed liner. Found good results on Duplicolor. And then when I was at the O'Reilly, I found this rocker guard. I'm like, oh, this is a better stuff. So I started spraying this on here. And I'm not super happy with it. Honestly, it's kind of just, you know, whatever factory protection was in here, it's kind of just blah, kind of blending it. But then over here, where I didn't prep the paint as good, and I sprayed that spray paint, it is just peeling it right off. It looks horrible. So, I think I'm better off not have done anything here. Just leaving this smooth, because it's not even adding any texture in there. But that was a fail. My plan was to undercoat that, let that cure and dry. After that was cured and dried, I was going to sand this door again. The bottom half's about perfect. I need to take off this door handle, but then this top half, we got some overspray, and this, just the top half here, kind of needs to be sanded and taken care of. This is still pretty smooth where we had some overspray here, but I probably would sand that as well. And then this inner cab corner, painted that all up, and that thing just looks probably better than factory, honestly. This whole thing, it's covered up by a little foam piece. Did get a little bit of overspray on some stuff in here, which I wish I didn't do. I haven't done as good a prep, so that's why I'm trying to be better. And then this fender, honestly, is like perfectly ready for paint. I'm going to get some sawhorses in here. We got a little bit of spray here, but again, hardly any texture on that, so that's like spray ready. So I wanted to spray that and the door all at the same time, but I was waiting on these rocker guards, but trying to decide what to do here. If I wipe that off, I'm really kind of pissed off myself because I didn't do any research on this. I just grabbed it, and I did a lot of research on the truck bed coating, but the truck bed coating probably wasn't going to leave as good of a finish as I thought this was going to leave, and it just left a worse finish. So you win some, you lose some. What do you expect? We're putting spray paint on a truck, so you can see here really well the color difference between this white and factory color. The factory color is a little more gray, but the way this truck, where this damage is, it's really hardly noticeable. I think once we blend this here, it probably is going to be a little bit more noticeable, but honestly, if we have to, we can throw another coat of the right color on top, and then we'll have several good coats of this stuff beneath it to help last and protect. So I guess we're kind of in a holding pattern again, but we'll keep you updated. I think this is the third coat, just finished up. As I was sanding this door and prepping it and cleaning it, I did notice we've got some imperfections. Hey, right there. I don't know why I didn't see this when I initially sanded it. I feel like something happened here, but I don't know what. But there's a dent right there. You can kind of see that way. So I don't know if this swung out and hit I don't think that's the right spot. So I think that dent was already in the door. I'm also seeing this dent pop. I didn't see that before when I was sanding and prepping this door. I guess this white just really shows. And then the other thing I just didn't realize, I guess there's a little dent there. But this rocker is just trashed. So, as I've said all along, this is a learning experience for me. I don't really know what I'm doing, figuring this out. And like I'm seeing more and more of these flaws surface that if I were more experienced, I would have probably, picked up on earlier on. But biggest mistake, like I said, to date was this stupid stuff. This rocker guard. I am just so... That can's like 95% full. I just tossed it. I'm so disappointed in that. It really ruined, this whole corner looked bad before. It wasn't perfect, but all the way from there to here was factory coat and finish. And then from here, all the way to here was the factory undercoating. And so it was just this little section I was trying to, blend in. And now nothing is consistent. We got factory edge down there. We got this, whatever this crap is here. And then we've got this crap and then that crap. And ugh. So that should be an easy fix if I decide to fix that. The correct way to fix this would be to pop this guy out, pull it down to the same elevation as these other holes, and then just body fill. I mean, we're talking up to ½ an inch of filler right there, but that may be what I end up doing there. And then I think I might go the truck bed liner route, and I might even do a truck bed liner inside the door sill because those always rub out and rust, and it could become bare metal. But I love this paint. This stuff is awesome. It's a enamel, so it really hardens out. I've actually only got like a third of a can, so I need to go buy some more. I think I'm going to do 1 or 2 or 3 more coats. This coat is started to cover everything. So the last coat you could really see through. There's probably a few spots. Bare minimum, I need to do 1 more coat. But I'll probably do 2 more, and I think the recoat on this is within every hour. So I'm going to run to Home Depot real quick, grab a couple more cans, and that will be done. This will be done. I've got my part for that. I can't find, having some issues. Shows it was delivered to our UPS store off of eBay, but UPS store can't find it, and so it's kind of lost in limbo. I don't know if that's there fault or not, but it's a $500 part that I paid $270 for, so you get what you get. But so I'm kind of waiting on that to assemble the fender and the front grille. But once this door is painted and done, it's supposed to be a 2-day cure time. I think I waited like a day and a half on the inside, and it's ready to go. So once the door is curing for another day or so, we're supposed to get snow, so we'll probably be out doing snow removal the next 24, 36 hours anyways. So after we're done doing snow, we can come back here. This will all be hardened up and ready to go. We can assemble that door. Door will be good to go. We can roll up the window. I can order a windshield for it. And then we're just waiting on that part at that point. And then once we get that front end done, we can button the whole thing up, go get it aligned, get new wheels put on it. And I think we're done. How crazy is that? Oh, here's my 30-minute timer for the last one. So, to Home Depot we go. And we got a pile of parts we need to put on. Okay, coming out to check on our paint. Got our heat gun. I'm curious to see how warm it is out here. We're about 60 degrees, just under. So I think this heater is making a big difference in our cure times. Obviously, it's about 60 degrees, but I've just been trying to keep it set somewhere in here, 50, 60 degrees. Fuel-wise, we're about half a tank there. And that should run the majority of the night, keep these things kind of baking as we're curing. It's a little bit orange pilly, not the best. A little bit tacky still. Not the best. This right here where we did that Bondo patch, yeah, right there. You can see, I don't know what's going on with that. We just should have done, is that a primer issue? Should have put primer on, maybe. Obviously, we should have fixed those rock chips. Same spot here. Yeah, you can see that now. So right there, we did our Bondo patch. This door might be harder to tell. One of the coats I was doing on this door, right about here, I was at the end of a can, and it kind of spurted and spurted. I think that blend now, you can see we got some little dribbles right there. Got a little piece of crap right there. And I think this one might have blended in. I can't really see where that is as bad. The inside door, I don't know what it is. Like the inside cab, when I did that, like hardly any orange peel, just almost perfection. Like in here, I don't know. Again, it's a work truck. I did screw up on this. I masked this off the first time, and then we got some overspray in here, and that thing got kind of hit with some overspray. This one still looks pretty good. I still don't like my mask job on that, but we did get some overspray in here, and that did kind of rough it up. But all this is going to get covered by the door panel, so no big deal there. Threw a couple more coats on this. I should not be touching that right now. I think I'm going to have to rework this. But I can do that even after the truck gets past inspection. I can do that anytime. Yeah, we'll just let this bake tonight. There she is. How's it look? What else we got? We got a crease right there. There's so much damage. We got that crease right there. We got that crap. I don't even know how I missed that. So, I don't even know what damaged that. It's nuts. We did a repair right here, and that one looks really good. Again, totally jacked right there. Boom, boom. And then fix the door here. That actually looks pretty good. A big old dent right there. This white shows dents way worse than that. This fender was like a dark charcoal color. The door was like a dark brown color. But this white shows the dents so much worse. I'm excited to start putting this door back together and take off the masking tape and figure out where that part is. And yeah. I'm excited. We'll let this bake tonight and update you next time we get out here. I'm getting excited. She's looking pretty good. Obviously not a perfect match, but I don't know what else I'm going to get out of this. So this tape line actually looks pretty good. The texture came out better than I thought it would. It's pretty consistent where I sprayed, but just that peeling just really wrecked me. And then this is all smooth because I just wiped it off. So I had to blend right here. So this is nice glossy, and then we've got what's it called, kind of some overspray here, and then it goes back to the factory gloss. So I think a little bit of buffing and waxing, I think we'll take that out. You can see our sheen here, a little bit orange peel compared to the factory paint. That's going to be the most noticeable area about the repaint. I mean, like these inner fenders, you can't even tell. It just looks normal. So might have to have this resprayed by a professional. I don't even know. I'll probably just try and get it inspected as is. And if a highway patrol doesn't pass me because of the color, then we'll address that then. But I think I'm okay to send that. Really happy with how this landed up down here. I did that paint line here, and for some reason it looks like a different color. But that tape line looks really good because you can kind of see that edge of where the factory undercoating is. So if I ever do add to this, I'll just be able to reuse that tape line and just kind of recoat that area, repaint that, respray that, tape the rest of the truck off. It should look pretty good. Yeah, inner door looks really good. Not a ton of overspray in here. And none of this really matters. I'm still upset at myself about that. But fender came out pretty good. This paint I'm really happy with. It's really pretty smooth for a spray paint. I was worried about a lot of runs. Like I said, I got a few splatters, but I don't even know if those, yeah, these ones did show up a little bit. These ones are worse. So those two splatters kind of sucked. Yeah, I think everything else should kind of buff out, and I don't know. Everyone's probably looking at that saying that looks horrible, but I don't know. Maybe I'll put a wrap on this truck. Maybe I'll just wrap the cab, and then it won't even be noticeable at all. You know, I could also paint this half of the cab up to that seal point, all that same color. But, you know, we're still going to have the transition into the hood. So, you know, if we go here, it'd just go all the way down, and then it would be the transition to the hood. So that would be probably less noticeable than this cab line. But for now, I'm pretty happy with myself. I went back and forth on whether or not to use that spray paint can, and I debated using this can, but I don't even know. I don't think this, maybe it is a closer match. But when I spray painted it on my test panel, I just wasn't very impressed with it. So it wasn't worth paying twice as much for a can. And I would have gone through like 15, 20 of these cans. So I'm happy with it as is. Really not happy with how this is going as far as the front grille. This piece, I guess we haven't really talked about this. So this piece got kind of smashed in, pulled back. So I ordered a new one of these. It kind of got kinked right here. So I got a new piece that goes from here to here. But then this piece actually is for the whole grille support. It goes from here and down all the way across the other side and up there. But I found an eBay version that's got sectioned off, and I'm hoping I can just use this kind of section right here and weld it in, splice it in, and not have to, you know, take apart the whole radiator and everything. I don't think it will be that hard. I think the hardest thing would be the AC, not being able to disconnect the AC lines. But that being stuck on back order, lost in shipping, I don't even know where it's at. That's really causing a problem. Now I'm like, okay, do I just pull this out and send it? Because I'd really like to get, I guess this piece is the one that, it bolts to the one behind it. But this piece is what's got these little spacer brackets. So if I got the new one for that, I could bolt that in. That would kind of give me roundabout dimensions. I could yank the other one out, or even just chop it and move. I don't know. That's really the holdup now for getting this truck back together, which really is a bummer. I got to wait for these to cure. I'm going to be impatient and want to start putting these together, and I might even start putting the door together today. But I really ought to wait another day or so to let that cure out. I'm excited to get this back on the road. I got to figure out the windshield situation. I got to repaint around the windshield. There's a couple areas that we exposed some metal, so we need to do that. But yeah, there's our status update. This video is getting really long, I'm sure. We are making progress. I'm not going to bore you with everything here. This was definitely a learning experience. There's lots of better tutorials online. Basically have all the guts inside here. Hopefully it's all right. Got the window in, pulled it off that door. I still need to do some of this weather stripping. And this one's pretty roughed up, which kind of sucks. I probably should order a new one of those. Yeah, I'm just getting ready to put on the door skin. I'm excited. This truck's starting to feel like it's getting back to drivable and normal. Got all my tires and wheels loaded up for the alignment shop. Got some used BFGs on there from my last truck. And these wheels I bought. Got a few spare lug nuts over there. Just kind of cleaning up, making things look nice. I'm really mad at myself. I totally scratched right here behind there. I'll have to show you that. But test fit up the fender. The door's on 100%, so that's looking good. This part's still not in for up front here. So I've got this piece that was bent. It's pretty smashed up. So I've got the replacement one in there. I still need to reroute this cable through there. But I'm thinking, so that bolt hole is supposed to be through here. So that's got to move like 1.5 inches. I'm thinking just grab the excavator, hook onto there, and just pull forward a little bit, like 1/2 inch or 1 inch, and then out 1.5 inches needs to go. And this one's not as bad, but pull that one out too. And then I'm not going to order that part again. $270. I already spent it once. I'm not going to spend it twice. And yeah, the windshield. I need to clean up right here where I scratched the cab. There's a little spot up there where the old glass was actually pushed that way a little bit, so my tool rubbed against the cab. I don't think even a window guy could have done any better, but this definitely, I screwed that up by using the multi-tool. But gonna take this alignment shop. I've got to take off this fender in order to do that, and I might fix this, and I might pull that out before I load it on the trailer. And then after the body shop, or after the alignment shop, I need to get that prepped and painted, ready for a windshield, call a windshield shop, have them put a windshield on there. Once that's pulled, and after I get tires and wheels on it, I can bolt up the fender, bolt up the hood, put on the headlights, all that stuff. And then all I'm waiting on is the windshield. Before I do the windshield, I'm gonna go ahead and clean the dash really good. Got a little bit of overspray on there. And it's just a nasty, nasty truck. So just old work truck stuff. So got to clean it out real good. But looks real good there with the door and the fender on. Should have put that tape on sooner to prevent that scratch. I feel like I messed something else up somewhere else. This door panel. This went good. Took a little figuring out to get this set in. Mirror went good. I should have put this piece on first before the door panel. I forgot to put on this little piece that goes right there. There's something else big that I forgot when I was putting this together. Oh, I'm waiting on this part from GM. So this seal around here I need to put on. So still a lot doing there. I need to put in this seal around here and then package this back up together. But those are all stuff we can do later. Oh, so that's where we're at. Hopefully we make some good progress today. I've got an appointment for 3 o'clock. So I've got about 3 hours to kind of get ready for that. There's that massive scratch I put into the fender. Dumb. Here's that inner fender liner deal. So this covers up that VIN tag. Also scratched this up a little bit when I was redoing these door hinges. After I put all the components inside the door, it got a lot heavier, so I had to readjust those, and all my paint that I had made looked perfect. Now it's all mangled up, but doors looking good. Our seams are looking good. Going around, coming down here. It's not perfect, but it's pretty perfect. Good enough for a work truck. Okay, we've got the excavator set up, making some poles. Things are looking pretty good. So I smashed this down with the hammer a little bit. Got this to realign. Got our new bracket on here, which is helping us align things. And then if we press that in there, all our holes are lined up. I think we're a little bit far back still. maybe a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, especially down here. I don't know how much more I'm gonna get. I guess I could try pulling down here, but this is way better. I mean, this was pulled, like I said, 1.5 inches, maybe more. But this should fit that fender up a lot better. Okay, we just got back from the alignment shop. Got all our wheel sensors working. Take a look. New tires, new wheels. Did say that this wheel's off about 0.7 degrees, so this frame's a little bit bent here, pulled in this way. Said this torsion bar is also a little bit bent up, so we might end up replacing that torsion bar and maybe some more suspension work in here. But it did align out. We got good alignment, so we shouldn't have a ton of bad tire wear. I did notice before that it did turn sharper to the left than was the right. I just briefly checked it just now, didn't really look at that, but it did seem to turn more evenly to the right than it did before. Before you could hardly turn right at all, so I'm hoping that's mostly fixed with the alignment, but that could also be because this wheel's a little bit further back that it is able to turn sharper to the left. That would make sense to me. But these BFGs look great on here. These are about 50% tread, and yeah, she's looking good. Gonna resituate these wheels. They didn't really do the best stack job on me. So I'm just gonna lay these down flat so they don't bump out on the freeway. But had them pull off this guy. We got any bead damage on here. I don't know if this tire's worth do anything with. Beads look good on that one. Everything else was on here already. And then there's our wheel. Got messed up. That the other guy tried to bend back. And a few spare lug nuts. So we'll go ahead and lay these down and get home. Okay, we've got low washer fluid, add fluid. We're missing a reservoir, service airbag. The driver's seat's not plugged in right now, so that's that one. And the washer fluid tank had a crack in it, so it is currently missing. So that's both acknowledged. We got our tire pressures working. Pretty decent pressure. Oil pressure, or oil life. We got half an oil change. Engine hours. I reset this, so this truck's only gone half a mile-ish since we bought it. Half a tank of gas, 10.5 miles a gallon. Okay, should we unload this thing? Yeehaw! Okay, we're back in the shop. We are blowing some nice warm air. Heater feels great, so that's working. Unfortunately, we've got 2 full turns to the left and like 1.5 turns to the right, so it's still a little bit off. That might be just because that wheel is pulled back a little bit, making it easier to turn left. I'm not sure. I think the rack might be misaligned. I tried to line up this side. When I removed the dash, I kept the steering wheel straight, and I tried to get it back on the same lug, but I could have got off by a cycle or two. But yeah, all the dash lights are off. No tire light. We still need to fix the airbag light, but we know what that is. So I think at this point we kind of have all of our conditions known. So the game plan. Never done this before, first salvage title. So, huge gamble. All this money in, and we don't even know if we can get this street legal again. So, bought the truck for $6,000. Probably have, by the time we're all said and done, I don't even know where we're at parts-wise. we'll probably have 2,000 to 4,000 in parts into this truck. Tons of time on top of it. If I put my labor in there, I mean, if my time's worth $100 an hour and we've got 20 hours into this, that's $2,000 labor. That's not bad. I would probably say it's probably going to be time to said and done to be 40 or 50 hours labor, which would be 4,000 to 5,000 if my math's correct. So let's say $10,000 for the truck and parts, and another $5,000 for labor. We're $15,000 into a $30,000 truck. It's not worth $30,000 because it's got a salvage title, but we also didn't have to pay that. We don't pay taxes on that. All the stuff that goes with that. So there's some side effects with that. So like I said, we got a huge gamble. Let's say 10 grand into the truck before we can even get it registered. So my next step here will be to put the hood, fender, everything back together, and then go take it and get it inspected. Once it's inspected, we'll have the alignment paperwork, we'll have the inspection paperwork. Oh, we need a windshield too, so we need to get a windshield before that. So once that's all said and done, then I can send off all my paperwork to the state. Well, actually, I need to have a highway patrolman inspected. So once the highway patrolman inspects it, then I can send it off to the state. So we'll get it inspected first, so just so I have that documentation for the highway patrolman. I don't know if that's necessary, but that at least is a good faith effort. Then we send it off to the state, and they either accept or decline. We get it registered, all that. And then at that point, I can start making decisions like, you know, this paint match is not perfect. If the highway patrolman doesn't pass me for that, then we'll deal with that then. But if the state does, if we register this, I'm not super okay with that. So maybe down the road we'll get it wrapped, or we'll get it repainted, or, you know, we can start investing more into this truck, or we can decide whether we decide to sell it or sell the other truck or keep both or whatever else. Then at that point we have options, and I'd like to get this thing driving and start using it when I can. And that way any other gremlins we have can kind of surface. We can start to see any issues like that. That's the game plan. There's a lot of unknowns, but there is a lot of knowns. And right now we know we got a lot of work still to get this back together. So that's the game plan. It's been a lot of work. 40 or 50 hours sounds like nothing compared. I mean, for me, it's been 2.5 months so far. And that's not full-time 2.5 months, but the truck, you know, this is going to be a 3-4 month project. A quarter of a year sounds insane. I should have been keeping track of my hours. Even if I save myself $5 grand on labor, that's pretty cool. If I would have had to pay a shop, I'm sure it would have been more for a shop to do it. They might have quoted 100 hours. Oh, I'll stop rambling. Beep, boop, beep, boop, boop. Just finished up a quick interior detail. It's not perfect, but it looks a ton better than the work truck it was before. That dash is still pretty dirty. It's hard to see in here. Oh, the camera actually does better. So this was all dusty. You can see the floorboards over there. Haven't touched that. Did one pass on that guy, 4-wheel drive. Did one pass on the floor there. Got the pedals and got this door. A lot of stains in here. I went twice on this door. A lot of scratches right here from nails. This was really, really dirty, this rubber piece. You can see here how much stuff is on there. So I got a lot of that dirt and grime out of there. I just didn't want that that sill to be up against this door and creating gunk. This up here had a lot of gunk from the old door, so wiped that off. So now we got fresh sill up here, fresh sill on there. Looks great. Got that factory seal. We'll have to take it on the freeway, see how well it does at sealing up. I thought this door seal came with this piece, but I'm missing. There's a piece that goes from here down and under the bottom, which I think is supposed to seal right here and also seal between here and the fender. That's actually where I noticed on my other 2015 work truck that it had been painted because I didn't protect that rubber very well, and it got overspray on it. We put our primer on, sanded this, put primer on here. Little spot up there, there's a little rock chip there, a couple spots down here and on the fender, and then pretty massive gouge right here, and then another couple gouges over there. So got this all primered up, let it sit overnight, and then probably tomorrow we'll come back and throw a couple coats of paint on there, Windshield's $225. Sounds like I'm not going to be able to get a mobile guy out here, so I'm probably going to have to take this to wherever we need it done. So that's going to be funsies. This fender, I'm kind of waiting to put on this fender until we can put the paint on there, because it's a lot easier to step up here, climb up there. This is kind of, the garage is tight with this stupid pole in the middle. So it's either one side or the other. This side, we got room on that side to work, but the pole's in the way. This side, we've got more room because we're squeezed over. So yeah, I'm kind of holding off on this fender, and I'm anxious to get this hooked up and see if that's going to have any issues, or if we're going to have to pull some more on that. We're also waiting on the windshield washer tank, so I'm also kind of hesitant to do any moving further forward here. But we're slowly taking off chunks. I guess the other big thing I really need to work on is I need to pick up a battery. Oh no. Dang it. And the keys are in there, and I'm already messed up. So I need to fix the seat. When I pull that battery, I'm going to fix the seat sensor and the seat belt sensor, and then also I need to put the interior trim together. So I guess I don't want to take that plastic off right now, so I guess we're waiting on that. So I did take this fender liner. This thing's pretty mingled up, so threw some zip ties in here just to hold it together. Got some pieces here, got some pieces there. It's pretty rough. I think these fender liners are a couple $100, so trying to save some money, and really it should serve the purpose. It's got a million screws, so it should stay up there, and it's going to do the job that it's supposed to do, and it's a work truck for the 50th time. So we saw that the white wasn't a perfect match with the cab, so I'm using this Duplicolor Perfect Match. Duplicates original GM colors. So I'm using that up here to fix the windshield where we did that repair. And let's see how well she color matches. We'll see how well it dries, but I'm not super confident that's gonna look right. Yeah, it looks the same as the other white. They're just off, just different colors. We'll see what it looks like when it dries. Okay, the work truck is pretty much finished. All of my parts and pieces that I had for this thing are no longer on the tables, and they're all on the truck now. So, got the bumper, the headlights, the grill, all back on, the hood back on. Got the fender fitted up. That took some finagling. Got the door fitted up. I did have to shim out this fender a little bit to match the door. It's still not quite as far out as the door, but close enough. We got our inner fender up in here. Things are not perfect. Like we've got these zip ties in here. This headlight did not fit up perfect. And like this battery tray is not sitting perfect. But all that's due to this corner right here. So it's not perfect. I scratched this. Really sad about that. I scratched this. Really sad about that. Lots of this new paint scratched really easily. A lot of this inner fender, we got scratched up over there. Like right there, we got some scratches on those two nuts. But it is what it is. It's back together. It looks way better than before the accident, or after the accident, I should say. Got all our doors put back in. Cleaned up the floor pretty good. So We got a mirror. We need to put in a windshield. And then my plan is to go get it inspected. And if anything comes up in the inspection, we'll take care of that then. But I think, aside from windshield and an inspection, we're ready to go get it inspected with the highway patrol. So new bumper. I did replace the bumper. The grill is off this truck. The 2 headlights I bought because I've got another truck that I have a wrecked right headlight. This truck had a left wrecked headlight, so I took the headlights off that truck, put them on here. I've got another grill off that truck that the other truck needs also. Just little pieces have broken off over the years on the other truck. So while I was buying parts for this, I figured I'd get it all going. Got new tires and wheels on here, and new fender, new door. All the internals out of the old door are in there. I did have to repaint up here where we damaged this, which that's looking pretty good. I'm hoping we don't have any issues with the windshield. And I think I might debating putting a normal bed on here or a newer bed. This utility body's pretty haggard. Probably gonna put at least a cheap seat cover on here. Might put in just a new factory seat cover on here. Might put some side steps on. Mostly what happens on these trucks is you're getting in and out and you scuff right here, and this gets all rusty because it's bare metal. So that takes a lot of wear and tear getting in and out. So in order to limit that, these are pretty high trucks. My other 2 trucks have the Nerf bars on the front, so I might put that on there. An advantage of that too is it will distract from this body line that we blended, and kind of cover up what's underneath there, just from an aesthetic reason. And like I said, this isn't for the millionth time. This is a work truck. How bad's the white look? It's obviously not as shiny. This side's honestly pretty sad. Got this dent right there. Got scratches and dents, and the door's all dented up right here. Oh, that's the other thing we need. We got our badge for that other side, so we got to put that on. But yeah, I think we're looking pretty good. So door badge, I need to put that on, and just for aesthetics, and we're looking good. So making some more progress on the utility body. Slow but sure. Knocked off these guys, drilled out the old rivets, popped them off, riveted new ones on. This one is one of the worst ones. Works great. One more to go on this side. And we are using 3 16-inch rivets. I did find this cheap set of handles on Amazon. These are from China, and they don't have 6 rivets. They're only 4, and they're not perfectly lined up, but these are like $100 a piece, and I think I got a set of these for either for 100 or for 50. So quite a bit cheaper. We're talking like a quarter the price, if not an eighth. So what they are, I'm happy. I ended up ordering 2 boxes, and each box has 4 in it, so I'll have 1 extra. And lucky enough, they are all keyed the same, so probably not the best for security. It's like a new truck. Not really, but that's what everyone likes to say, right? Everything latches nice. What a difference that makes. So much better. This one was a little bit of a bear. That one was tight. This one's a little bit tight too. But I didn't really adjust any of the strikers. Got a slot in there. So could have done that, didn't. But yeah, so much better than what it was. And this thing, just waiting on the title. Oh, I really hope that we pass all our stuff. I do need to weld that back in. But yeah, waiting on the state to send the title back as a prior salvage. And I guess if something's wrong with it, they'll let me know and we'll deal with that then. This side's pretty banged up. She's a pretty truck. Turned out good. Here's the banged up side. Still mad at myself about scratching the brand new paint. You idiot. Not super happy with that, but it is what it is. It's a work truck. My wife just said, whether you have a new truck or not, employees, they beat stuff up. Banged that up, messed up this light, broke off all this chrome. So when I got a headlight for that truck, I got 2 new headlights, put one on that truck, put one on this guy, and I also got this new grill. It's got the blacked out emblem, but this grill was missing. When I bought this truck, this grill was missing, this piece right here. So this truck, dressing it up a little bit, it's not that noticeable, but yeah, employees always find their way. I mean, that's this truck. This was an employee truck. It's got all this stuff and dents along here, and it's a work truck. So yeah, wish me luck on getting that title back. Here's our Copart rebuild work truck. 6 months later, finally have a front license plate. It's good to have this truck legal and roadworthy. Here's where the damage was. There's rocker. You can see our transition right there. New door, new rocker, new inner floorboard area, new fender, painted all of it. Had to replace the wheel. The wheel was damaged. New bumper, new headlight, and I think the grill's the original one. But yeah, we've got this back in business and really excited to get this to work. Today we're installing a receiver hitch on the utility body. Just pulled out these 2 balls. This guy was welded on. Cut that loose, loosened up the bolt. This big dog definitely helps out with leverage. This guy just bolted in, used the vice grips to hold it, or the pipe wrench to hold it. Worked great. Got those both off. You can see where that was welded on. And then this is where the other one was. Measured our center, 11.5 from each side. So right there, center in the middle. And then I picked this up from Harbor Freight, 30 bucks. Just marked it out. I'm gonna grind that off and weld this on. Okay, new hitch is on. Got a little bit of a weld up there. Got some good beads underneath here. Also around the back side. So that shouldn't go anywhere. Oh, I'm so glad finally got a license plate on this truck and every bloody light is on. What the heck? Going to the car wash. I don't think I better turn it off because I'm afraid. Service airbag. My goodness, everything. I don't want to turn it off because it's at 9 volts, but it's not charging. Oh, it's got no acceleration. Full throttle. Full throttle. Oh, it's like dieseling. Oh, she's real happy. I think I'm gonna bypass the car wash to save myself some embarrassment of just chilling there. For full throttle again, that was cool. It's got like no power, got no battery juice. Ready? Forward! And then like kills itself. Okay, ready again. I'm half throttle. Full throttle. Full throttle. I'm still full throttle. I'm still full throttle. I'm still full throttle. It's barely even like idling. Ooh, dog, this is exciting. I drive this about once a month, just around the block, nothing crazy. Mostly keep the battery charged. So we're like half throttle. Service battery. Oh, look, half of them went away. Look, we're charging now. What? You guys see that? Something's up with this thing. Like, for realsies. Okay, I'm making a special maneuver here. We're going back to the car wash. She's back in business. Look at this. Look at what battery voltage does. Fixes everything. I don't know what's up with the 80 plus PSI of oil pressure. That's a little wackadoodle. But so yeah, that alternator's charging now, 14 volts. We're a little on the low side, probably like 13.8, something like that. Oh no. Yeah, this is how it's been. We got the check engine light for some catalyst, blah blah blah. I think it's got an emissions issue. I did pull out the charcoal canister, whatever gets dirt in it. Fix that. Okay, we're back where we started. Back in the car wash. Okay, I think I'm still gonna leave it idling. Hopefully we charge up this battery. I think that's the problem. Check engine light is gone. We got low volts. Service battery charging system. Battery saver active. And just like that, all the lights are on. Service StabiliTrak. Way low voltage again. Something's up. I'm taking some heat in the comments for the way I welded on this hitch. So let's go ahead and do a torture test and see if we can break those welds. I did the same test on this hitch. The C channel was flexing. Put a skid steer bucket right here and it was flexing. So I added these support bars as well as this support bar up underneath here. Which hitch can take some abuse? I'm gonna go with bulletproof. Pass the test. That weld looks good. Hey look, all my welds are still good. I highly doubt a trailer is going to do any worse damage than that. Not even a crack. died. Here's our Copart rebuild truck. Wanted to show you the after. Just finished painting this bumper, welded on this hitch. Never knew I'd get so much hate for my welds, but I did a torture test on that, held up great. Painted the bed. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think that really dresses it up. Eventually we'll paint the rest white, but for now, it does the job. Ironically, the hood's popped because something's wrong with the battery. It's not, the charger's not charging, so I'm gonna be walking home. But here's a look at the truck all finished up after our Copart rebuild. We are $10,000 into this, approximately $6,000 for the truck, approximately $4,000 parts, and that doesn't include my labor. Probably at least 40 or 50 hours of my part, if not 80 or 100, who knows. So if I'm running my hourly rate at $100 an hour, we're $15,000 into this truck, which it's probably only worth $15,000 given the circumstances now. Rebuilt title, 130,000 miles. It is 4-wheel drive, but I think it's still gonna be good for the business, and I'm only out the $10,000 and I've got a working truck. Just finished up an alternator replacement here at O'Reilly. Here's our core, 30 bucks back. This is about 250 bucks. And this is the 150 amp. I decided not to get the 220. Save like $75. Before I go return my core, figured I'd start it up real quick and see if it's working. And voila, we got 14 volts there charging. Still don't know what's up with that oil pressure gauge, but I don't know if you guys can see anything. There we go. Yeah, let's go return that core, get our 30 bucks back. Got some employees out here looking at a bicycle tire. Good for them. Okay, we're all fixed. We're back in the same spot where it left me stranded, but our alternator is charging. Put a new alternator in. The voltage regulator, according to O'Reilly, they tested it out as bad, so we replaced that. Let's go take a look and walk around. She's done. The work truck is done. We got it all stickered up, ready to go to work. It's been a ride. Well, that's a wrap on the wrecked work truck. We got it all back together, up and running. Good to have it back in business. Okay, we're doing a little bit of late night work on the service body truck. Picked up this bed on Facebook Classifieds, farm truck bed, and it had the bumper, the hitch, and the gooseneck, factory gooseneck hitch. So I ended up installing factory gooseneck hitch on the work truck here. This is the Copart wreck truck. So we've got this puck system down there. Ended up cutting out this back half. You can see right there. I'm gonna make that on a hinge. And then we've got the factory gooseneck ball in there. So you can kind of see the service body height in there. We are just test fitting this gooseneck trailer. I'm just lowering it down on the ball there so we can see what our clearance is going to be right here. See if this is a viable option. And we got this gooseneck here. We got this gooseneck here. Obviously a lot more room here, but we'll see how well it works. The first problem I see is where I cut this out. Should have gone a couple inches further forward, because we're going to have a clearance issue here. Once that starts turning, that's going to hit right here. So that's kind of a bummer that I mismeasured that. Should have gone a little bit further forward. Trying to take out the smallest piece possible here. to be able to have a big, huge hinge door, either hinge forward or hinge backward, and then also still have the factory gooseneck pucks. I decided on the rear instead of the fronts because this bit's a little bit rusty, trying to make it as sturdy as possible and just make the most sense. But as far as I'd like to get this on the road and really truly see what our clearance is, but the clearance that I'm seeing is actually pretty decent. So yeah, that's good.